Somebody
Okay,
threw,
you're all set.
thank you, Chief. So we'll call the regular council meeting in the town of Grand Bay Westfield on Monday, June 8th to order. And we would like to welcome all of those who may be viewing us virtually or have joined us to watch for the first time. Welcome. Item 2, please.
Record of attendance.
Let the record reflects full council is in attendance. So do you want to do a roll call, Sandra, for the record?
It would be advisable, Your Worship.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Likely.
Here.
Councillor Snodgrass.
Present.
Councillor Day.
Present.
Councillor Bailmans. You're on mute.
There should be a microphone there somewhere, John.
At the top of your screen, John, it should say, there should be a picture of a microphone.
There, got it. Present.
Thank you. Councillor Evans?
Present.
Thank you. That'll conclude we have unanimous attendance, Sandra. Thank you. Item 3, please.
Approval of the order of business and approval of additions and deletions.
Make a motion to adopt as presented.
Seconded.
Second it.
On the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? It's carried unanimously. Item 4, please.
Disclosure of conflict of interest.
Is there any? There being none, we'll move to item 5.
Public hearings, none.
Item 6, particularly 6.1.
Public presentations, none. 6.1 is the RCMP report for the month of May 2020.
Thank you, Sandra. Council, before you, you have the month, as Sandra said, the statistical data for the month of May compared to this year and compared to last year. If you have any questions, unfortunately, the RCMP couldn't join us. If we have any questions with respect to the content, we could collect them here, make the inquiry, and get the answer back to you. Deputy Mayor Likely, please?
I have one question. In the breakdown here under criminal code, so if I add up the criminal code on a year-to-date basis, we've had 52 identified infractions, I guess you'd call it, compared to 29 last year. I'm just curious as to, is this a mix up in the numbers with just Grand Bay Westfield versus the whole area that they're policing? Or have we seen that much of an increase in the criminal code activity in our, that's more than 100%. It's more than double this time of year. So I'm just curious as to why that is.
Good question, Deputy Mayor. Thank you. We'll get some clarification on that, Sandra.
Yes, we will.
Thank you. Is there anything else with respect to the content of the May report? Then could I have a motion, please?
Receive and file.
Thank you,
Seconded.
Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Snodgrass, on the question.
I
All
had
those-
a question on the, what was it? Now, false alarms. That has doubled the same period of time since last time. So if that could be questioned.
False alarms, I show 25 year to date. Last year, I show 22.
Your worship.
It was based on the month of May. There was 8 this year in May, and there was 4 last year in May.
Yeah, well, COVID probably speaks to that, but we can certainly get clarification. Councillor Snodgrass?
I was just going to add, I think it's a little deceptive and we might want to ask for clarification again from the RCMP, but I believe the last time I asked them about these stats, I think these are regional stats. They're not Grand Bay Westfield only stats. Like look at impaired operation, for example, impaired operation while impaired. They've got a number and then in brackets, they have another number. And I think the number in brackets is our community only. But everything else, I don't think is only our community.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, there could be a question on that, Ryan. I agree. I remember we asked them that before.
And I think we've been here before, and the numbers, because the stats just seem so large for just our community, right? Especially, I think it was a couple years ago when I was raising it around the impaired driving, you know, because the stats just seem so high for our community. But And then they started breaking them out. And I think these stats are not solely our community, they're regional.
And then that would explain why the false alarms, because I'm trying to think of where would there be places where we'd be having false alarms.
Just some perspective there. The traffic collision property damage reportable indicates there's one, but if you read the description, it's up on Highway 7.
Hmm.
Is that maybe it's on between our exits or something?
Could be between our.
Yeah,
it could be.
the obvious that these are regional stats rather than community-only stats.
Mm.
So we're gonna
Mike had me
clarify.
wanting to move.
We'll take clarification on that. Any other questions with respect to the content? Then could I have a motion moved by Councillor Evans, seconded by Councillor Snodgrass on the question. All those in favor?
I
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried unanimously. Your item is 7-1, please.
Minutes of regular council meeting of May 25th, 2020.
Motion to adopt as presented.
Seconded.
On the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried. Your item is 7-2, please.
Raise your,
Minutes of special council meeting of May 20th, 2020.
Motion to adopt is presented.
second it.
On the question. All those in favor?
I
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried. Item is 7-3, please.
Email poll of May 25th, 2020, re-credit in lieu of reclaimed asphalt placement, 2020 designated highway program.
motion to ratify.
Second it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Likely. Thank you, Councillor Day. On the question, this was an opportunity that the province made to us to take over some reclaimed asphalt, but it was nothing that we would use or didn't meet the quality of product that we use on our streets. So we chose instead to take a $6,000 credit on the product. On the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion's carried and your item is 7-4, please.
Tender notes of June 5th, 2020, bid number 2020-94, storm sewer and street improvements 2020.
Motion to receive and file.
second it.
On the question, I think this has got to be, I'm not sure, but maybe Google meetings are what we need to do a lot more of. There were 8 bids on this project. I haven't seen 8 bidders on a project in a very long time. So good news for us. On the question, all those in favor?
I
Your motion is carried and your item is 8, please.
Bills for payment.
Make a motion that we pay the bills for $128,776.09.
Seconded.
On the question, all those in favor?
I
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried. Your item is a consent agenda 9A through F, please.
Grand Bay Westfield Volunteer Fire Rescue Department report for May 2020. Building Inspector's report for May 2020. Dog Control report for May 2020. Recreation Department report for May 2020. Works Department report for May 2020. River Center Coordinators report for May 2020.
Motion to receive and file.
Seconded.
On the question, again, oh, sorry, Deputy Mayor Likely, you go first, please.
Yeah, I'm just looking at 2020 to date, 2019 to date. So we have 152 dogs have been licensed so far this year, and we had 225 last year. So that would say we've got a decrease of almost 40, over 30% number of dogs in the community, which I don't think, I mean, I think there's a lot more dogs out there that aren't licensed. So we are public. So I encourage everybody to get out there and get their dog licensed, because I would say we've got a bunch of unlicensed dogs running around the neighborhood.
So Michael, I'm not sure. I show 124, 2020 to date, and 181. Not,
Well, there's a couple there. There's a couple sold by the town. I took the 30, I took the 124 plus 3 plus 25, and I took the 181 plus 4 plus 20.
Yes, I think though, Michael, if you look back, I think probably we'll find that the office being closed is probably going to account for an awful lot of the dog licenses, because a lot of them were sold by the town. So during the
Yes.
time that closed, a lot of people would come in, pay their sewer bill, buy their dog license, do all of those things at one time.
Well, that's a good, yeah, good point. Maybe that's the case. Yeah.
That's the thing too.
Still a valid reminder.
I'm guilty as charged because I'd have to license my dog, so Bob Barker got me. But down the town, it's if you're not this last 3 months is when some people would walk in and do that. So definitely a reminder's good.
That's right. And your dog barking gave you away.
I
Counselor
was caught again.
Did you have a point, Counselor Snodgrass?
No, I'm good.
So I was just going to mention, actually, can you tell me, Sandra, the events in red are cancellations? So the weekly market, it says has a date here for Brundage Point of June 19th. Is that tentative, or are we going ahead with that?
It's tentative in the sense that the market organizer is proposing to submit a plan, a COVID-19 plan to the town.
Yes.
Apparently she's met with the public health officer and is prepared to submit a plan and start the markets later than usual. But that plan would come to council.
That's wonderful. Thank you for that. And just add that it's amazing the amount of work that people have done on their homes with sheds or basements, all that sort of little work that showed up in the consent agenda as well during COVID. It was good for many things, all those jobs we've been putting off. On the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried. And your item is 10, please.
Business arising from minutes, regular council meeting minutes of May 25th, 2020.
Is there any? Being none, we'll move to item 11, please.
Delegations, none.
Item 12.
Petitions, none.
Item 13.
Bylaws, none.
Item 14.
Notice of motions.
Again, are there any? There being none, we'll move to item 15, particularly 15.1.
Willistook Drive Speed Study, final report prepared by Peter Allaby, professional engineer, Crandall Engineering.
So council, you have in your package the Willistook Drive Speed Study. It has, its content is quite positive, actually. I think there was no major amount of speeding. It certainly highlighted a little area that was probably the most, but even it wasn't, they didn't find any great amount of speeders there. Does anybody have any questions or anything with respect to the content of the traffic on Willistook Drive or the content of the Allaby study?
Grace, I thought it was well done, and it's really good to see the data, because a lot of people make assumptions on speed. They think they know how they're going by. But looking at all the data, it is a positive news that people are basically either, like, average speed is under the speed limit in areas, and the percentile that's provided by that's great. So I think it's a positive note.
And it's what Mr. Allaby told us, isn't it? Any place where the speed is up, it's where long straight stretches, where you can see long ahead. Councillor Snodgrass, please.
The only thing I was going to say is, it's a good report. I think as Councillor Evans alluded to it, it certainly indicates that speeding isn't a real big issue up there, but there are some areas where, there are some speeds that are creeping up. It might be good to share this information with the RCMP, just so that they have access to this information, so they can kind of monitor those areas going forward, just to try and,
Yeah,
go
from Valley View, I think, identified possibly the long straight stretch. But it was such good news in the school district, I thought. I was happy about it. Councilor, Deputy Mayor Likely, I'm sorry.
I think I'm clear on this, but we do own those radar units, right? We bought those. Yeah.
We do.
So we can bring those out. We can move them around, and
That's right.
And we have
right
been
now.
around different.
The Works Committee moves them around wherever he gets, wherever he thinks there could be a hot spot. So everybody
No.
good? So could I have a to receive, perhaps to receive and file and forward it along to the RCMP?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Snodgrass, seconded by Councillor Evans or Day. Thank you. On the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried and your item is 15.2, please.
General Revenue Fund Operating Budget Financial Report for the Town of Grand Bay Westfield as at May 31st, 2020.
Motion to receive and file?
Seconded.
On the question, Sandra, would you like to, as clerk of the municipality, would you like to give an overview, please?
Your worship, this is the General Revenue Fund Operating Budget Report to May 31st, 2020. The total operating budget for 2020 is $6,235,000. The department head's analysis of actual and budgeted revenues and expenditures for the period have been reviewed. It is expected at this time that the smaller variances identified during the review will offset each other and not be significant to the overall budget. A modest surplus is projected for the year at this time. However, due to COVID-19 and with 6 months remaining in the fiscal year, the projection could change for the next financial report. In addition, the town has outstanding payments and claims related to disaster funding, which we anticipate should be concluded by the end of the year. Specifically in regard to COVID-19, the town is experiencing certain losses in revenue. However, it is experiencing savings in some areas. 2 additional financial reports will be provided to council prior to year end.
Thank you, Sandra. At each of the other quarters, we have a motion to receive and file. On the question, are there any questions with respect to its content? Councillor Evans, please.
I just want to mention thanks staff for working hard to stay within budget and do stuff internally. So we're not looking at a deficit. We're still looking at a modest surplus with any luck. So thank you to staff and Sandra for all their hard work.
I'd like to echo that because it's really, really good. When we were being told that this was going to be coming forward, we were all concerned because of the impact of COVID and all the different things that we've had to do, signage, I want to say Pyrex, but it's not. It's the
Plexiglass.
plexiglass coverings and all of that. And those were additional costs that we've incurred. But as Sandra has said, they've recognized and seen where they can make savings. And we also know that some of the revenues just aren't there right now.
Thank you, Councillor Day. Sandra, could you answer one question for me? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. I should have asked you prior to that, but Fire has a clothing allowance of $4,500 that they weren't expecting. What is that? Is that new recruits or?
It's partially related to that, and the determination in the fall of the amount of clothing needed for the full complement that he has now was low, slightly low in that amount. He is anticipating to be able to offset any of that in his budget for the year, though.
Thank you very much for that. So on the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried unanimously, and we'll move to item 16, please.
Report of May 26, 2020 from Town Manager, reappointment of Pro Kids Advisory Committee Town Representative.
I'd like to make a motion, Councillor Beverly Day as town's representative on the Pro Kids Advisory Committee effective May 2020 to May 2021.
Seconded.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Evans. On the question, positive recreational opportunities for kids is something that we fund in conjunction with our partners in the region. We pay the salary of the executive director, and the Pro Kids movement, led mostly by Canadian Tire, I must say, and all kinds of volunteers in the community, provide these recreational, and not just recreational, but cultural opportunities to kids that are unable to afford or access them in any other way. We're grateful for your attendance, Bev, and we're very grateful, Councillor Snodgrass, you've served there for a number of years, and appreciate that you couldn't find any more time, and thank you for your service there, and thank Bev for stepping up. So on the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary mind? Your motion is carried. Item 17, please.
Letter of May 19, 2020 from Kate Libby, Acting President, Regional Development Corporation, reapproval of project number 12863, equipment purchase, 3 park benches.
Make a that we authorize appropriate signatures.
Seconded.
Second it.
On the question and the park benches, I think Gary envisions them going down to Cenotaph Park in that general area, Sandra?
I'm not certain, Your Worship. I do know they're ergonomically designed minimum maintenance park benches that we received the full grant to cover the cost of the benches. And
Yes, the Community Investment Fund, $4,800.
yes.
Yes, we'll acknowledge that with a thank you note as well, please. Deputy Mayor Likely, please.
What was the outcome of the park bench that we had down by the church that was damaged by the post office?
Yeah, that was the MAD,
Matt,
the MAD
Yeah, the
and-
MAD.
investigator.
It was taken by the MAD committee to an entity that repairs benches, and the entity determined that they could not repair the bench because of the damage that had occurred in it. However, it was going back to their committee because he did offer to build a new bench for $2,300, which was significantly less than was anticipated. However, MAD considers that due to COVID-19, their revenue stream is strained, and they really don't feel that they can put forward the $2,300 to replace the bench.
Well, it was just, I mean, that's a shame. I mean, that was a beautiful piece of architecture donated to our town. And I mean, to have the vandalism like that done, it's really disappointing in our community to see stuff like that happen. So I hope the public, if there's any public watching tonight, realizes that some of this stuff's going on, and hopefully they'll control whoever is doing this stuff.
Deputy Mayor, I want to thank you for saying that, because that's important that be said. And that's a granite bench. There are granite headstones in cemeteries that have been there for hundreds of years. That took some awful effort to wreck that. Whoever wrecked that intended to wreck that. So look, be a good neighbor. If you know anything about that, call Crime Stoppers or call your RCMP, because that is just a terrible thing what happened there. On the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried. You're at 17, please.
That was,
Oh, sorry.
Letter of January 29, 2020 from Doug Hartford, professional engineer, Dillon Consulting, redesignated Highway 2019, Route 177, culvert replacement project number 19-1192, certificate number 2, holdback release certificate.
Make a motion that we authorize payment of certificate number 2, holdback release certificate, to Golf Operators Limited for $33,695.07.
Seconded.
On the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried unanimously. Item 19, please.
Thank you from Granbury Primary and Inglewood School for grants received from the town of Granbury Westfield.
Motion to receive. File.
well,
One of you,
Seconded.
thank you, Councillor Evans, Councillor Snodgrass. It was nice to get the thank you notes. And I'll tell you, Rosalind Nickerson had asked me, a few weeks ago, I guess. She reached out to me by email and said that certainly for the students who would have had to go up and meet Inglewood School, get your visit to the new school you're changing to, those children this year, of course, haven't had a chance to do that at all. So we wrote them a letter on behalf of all of us and personalized each of them, put town pins on them. And tomorrow, June the 10th, Roz will be at Inglewood School, and every one of those little grade 2 children are going to come by and pick up their certificate, and they'll get a note wishing them well and wishing them well in their new school for next year from us as well.
Nice.
Awesome.
So, yeah, nice for the kids. On the question, all those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Your motion is carried, and your item is 20, please.
Email of June 5th, 2020 from Douglas Hartford, Dillon Consultant, rebid results for storm sewer and street improvements 2020, project number 20-2094.
We'd like to award the construction contract to the low tender Keel Construction Limited for their tender price of $738,600 $778.50, including 15% HST.
Second.
On the question. Counselor Evans?
That's great news, local company, which is good, and also the pricing and stuff. So that's does that require? That means that all the stuff that was listed in our draft budget, the streets and projects, they're all will be covered under this now, correct?
That's correct, Your Worship.
Thank you,
And
Sandra.
Thank you.
right,
Excuse me,
you're right.
Counselor.
uh,
Through the chair, please. And keep order. Go ahead.
we had 4 companies bid on this, and it was really nice to see that it came in way under our engineer's estimate. So thank you, companies, for bidding.
So look, I guess what I would say to it is that all bids, if this is indicative of the bidding after COVID, all bids came in slightly less than the engineer's estimate. But how amazing that 2 of them came in with $1,500 of each other, and then the next 3 were all grouped with the engineer's estimate within $15,000. It's amazing. I went through all the unit pricing and everything looking at this bid, and it's pretty amazing actually how they arrive at that, and they can arrive so close. And
Yeah,
Councillor-
we've got to, Mayor, Your Worship, I think the big thing is the drop in oil prices when it comes to asphalt. It's got a huge impact on, and I think that directly is why it's under engineer's estimate. I like to think it's the great new system, but I think it's more circumstance. But it's great to see companies be able to all access through online. It's a lot easier for them operationally. I think it's something we should look at continuing.
Well, look, I think you're right, Councillor Evans. I do think that perhaps some of the pricing is low because of asphalt, but it's interesting to see that 3 of them, frankly, 3 of them were very close to the engineer's estimate. It was the other 2 lower bids, the awardee and the one right beside them, that were, more than $100,000 less than the engineer's estimate. So good for us, is what I'd say.
Good news.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Your motion is carried. And now is the fun part of the evening in June. Item 21.
Town 2020 bursary draws.
And I know, Sandra, you have them right here. Normally, we would be pulling them out of a hat. But look, for those of you who may not be aware, a few years ago, the town of Grand Bay Westfield set up a bursary fund. It's $500 to go. There are 2 of them, one to New Brunswick Community College and one to UNBSJ. So the children had until, I think it was May 27th or something, to come in and put their name in, show proof of acceptance to the post-secondary institute of their choice, and we would choose their names. So today, somebody from the office has selected those 2 names that did not have anybody in the draw. So Sandra, perhaps you would first draw the name for community college. And could you tell us how many people participated by any chance?
We had a number for each community college and UNB, approximately about a dozen each.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Because I think the last few years we've only had a couple, so good news.
Yeah. Good participation.
So
Yes.
for New Brunswick Community College, it's Ibra Mambuni Menini of 8 Nerepus Road.
Congratulations.
Oh, that's
And
Perfect.
for
You know, John, I think that's Cheyenne's son. Yeah, awesome.
What program is it going to do? Does it say?
Well, I just opened it. I haven't had a chance to read the letter.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, you're not.
That's all right. He's going off to community college and we're going to help him with a $500 bursary. I'm thrilled about that.
Good.
And for UNB St. John, it's Emma D. Galbraith, 180 Highland Road.
All
Perfect.
right.
Oh,
Excellent.
congratulations.
Yeah.
So
Congrats.
congrats.
Cool.
Them all, and hope in a small way this helps. Councillor Evans, please.
Grace, I just want to, while we're on this item, anyone is watching this out there, I just hate that the highlighted item of our discussion tonight is about that park bench and that one incident. I know it was a good discussion. We should talk about it. And I guess we're fortunate that that's our largest issue on a council session. But what's great about this community and everything is the people that are applying for these loans and grants to continue their post-secondary education. So that's what I want to highlight, that we celebrate that. And we got a lot of good things going here in Grand Bay in case someone else is listening out there.
Well said, Counselor Evans. 24 applications of our young people off to community college and university this September. That's nothing but good news. We live in a wonderful community, to your point. So we'll go, if that's it, then we'll move on to item 22.
Adjournment.
So moved.
Second it.
Thank you. And on the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Contrary minded? Your
No.
motion unanimously. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you
Nice.
again.